In this video, we're reviewing Wake Up Dead Man and letting ourselves have a little sin, just as a treat, with a fall apple cocktail called Eve's Apple. Today, on the Martini Shot. Hello and welcome to the Martini Shot, the home of movie reviews and movie-themed cocktails. Before we get into the review, let's whip ourselves up a drink. Mankind should have sworn off apples forever. They got Adam and Eve kicked out of paradise, they killed Snow White, they're just nothing but trouble. But as cocktail connoisseurs, we like to delve into a little sin every now and then, don't we? So that's why we are making the Eve's Apple, named after a diamond of great importance in the film. This is a sweet and tart fall cocktail that is very easy to make and is sure to tempt anybody with its goodness. I won't tell the big man upstairs if you won't. Let's get into it. This will be a shaken cocktail, so go ahead and grab yourself a cocktail shaker. First, we're gonna be starting with a little bit of fresh lime juice at ½ an ounce. Some maple syrup, also at ½ an ounce, and some apple juice at 1½ ounces. And now for our alcoholic ingredients, let's go ahead and start with a little bit of maraschino liqueur at 3/4 ounces, 2 ounces of brandy, and finally 2 dashes of Angostura bitters. Go ahead and throw some ice in your shaker and shake to chill. Once you're done, go ahead and strain your cocktail into a rocks glass filled with ice. And then if you'd like to garnish it, you can go ahead and throw in a cinnamon stick and 2 small slices of apple. And there you go, now you have Eve's Apple. Nice and fruity, pretty tart. I really love what the maraschino liqueur does in this cocktail. Despite the name, it doesn't actually taste like cherries. It's a little sweet, but also a little bit more herbaceous. But it pairs really well alongside that apple flavor in there, and the lime juice, like I said, adds a nice little tartness to it, really kind of brightens it up. The brandy is a little subdued. You don't really taste it as strong as if you were to use a whiskey or a rum. I definitely think you could use either of those in this cocktail, but I like that it kind of takes a backseat to let some of the other flavors kind of get more dominant. And despite that freshness and crispness, there is a little bit of a warmth to it, probably from that maple syrup. And the addition of the cinnamon stick allows for this nice little cinnamon scent to it whenever you sip. You could probably even dust a little bit of powdered cinnamon on top if you'd like. But as is, I think this is a great fall cocktail that is going to appeal to a lot of different people, as well as introduce more people to the wonders of maraschino liqueur, a very, very versatile and delicious ingredient that I've been enjoying playing around with. Enjoy it yourself, enjoy with a friend, enjoy with a snake, everyone can partake. Now that we have our drink, let's get right into the review. Here's a mystery for you. What does Netflix have against full theatrical releases? I mean, after this film and Frankenstein, it's ridiculous. Did a movie theater sleep with the Netflix CEO's wife or something? I'm happy directors like Rian Johnson and Guillermo del Toro have been able to negotiate deals to get these films into theaters because that is where they are meant to be seen. I still remember seeing Knives Out in the theater with a raucous crowd, knowing we found a director who can deliver a good time with a classic caper style. But after Glass Onion failed to wow me as much as its predecessor, I was curious to see where exactly Rian Johnson could go from here with his Benoit Blanc mystery series. A reflection on both the weaponization and necessity of religion was certainly not what I expected, but one I welcome greatly. Somehow managing to strike a balance of timelessness and being locked in on the current moment, Wake Up Dead Man is the first film in the trilogy where I found the unraveling and spotlighting of the characters to be far more intriguing than the mystery itself. Well, one character to be specific, as while I didn't find this to be the strongest ensemble, the characterization of Josh O'Connor's father Judd compelled me in a way I didn't think any character in this series had done before. But that's not to say this still isn't a capital M mystery though. It's certainly the nuttiest and far-fetched caper Johnson has cooked up yet, challenging pre-established tropes that makes this thing one whole school of red herrings. With that said, the convoluted nature of the mystery can undercut the juicier parts of the film, sometimes getting too tangled when all we really need is for the film to be straight with us. But at the end of the day, it's an undeniable win for Johnson as he cements himself as one of the generation's murder mystery conductors. It's an unsolvable crime. A priest walks into a small, plain room and ends up with a knife in his back. Nobody could have touched him, so how could this have happened? Well, never fear, because deep-fried detective Benoit Blanc is on the case to unconfidently stumble his way into kind of figuring this one out while also just kind of having everything fall into his lap. While Blanc is the recurring star of the series, always played alluringly by Daniel Craig, he really takes a back seat this time around. He's still doing his shtick of questioning and deliberating with the slow sweetness of molasses, but he is not the most intriguing part of this film to me. That would be Josh O'Connor as Father Judd, a newly relocated priest with a checkered past that leads Blanc through a journey of not only justice, but of faith. It really is refreshing to see a man of faith character like this handled in such a mature and intriguing way. Johnson passes on the typical crisis of faith character arc you may expect from a film that stands to question what's truly real and what's an illusion. The film isn't here to challenge belief, but rather challenge the intention of belief. Throughout the whole thing, Judd is unwavering in his faith, never questioning his belief in God, but questioning his role and how that message is brought to others. It makes his tangles with Blanc, a devout atheist, all the more compelling, as the validity of belief is not really what's being dissected here. At the end of the day, the film perhaps makes the greatest case for faith I've seen in a very long time without being overly cliche or preachy. And while I can gush about the dynamic between Blanc and Judd all day, I did find myself not nearly as compelled with the other characters. The potential suspects are given ample reasons to want the murder victim dead, but also throw in some genuinely good reasons for needing him alive. But despite some stellar actors maining these pawns, they just don't hit that level of memorability as the family from the first film. A lot of them just feel so ill-defined, not really succinctly sliding into the roles a murder mystery usually needs. Some characters just feel guilty by association, not really having a presence in the film that makes you believe they had any connection to anything in the plot. Great actors like Andrew Scott, Kerry Washington, and Kaylee Spaney never really get a moment to shine or even become a full-fledged interesting character. I was happily surprised by how much of the murder victim, played by Josh Brolin, we managed to get here. He talks about masturbating a lot, and honestly, it leads to one of the better character performances in the film. These films have always been able to strike a nice balance of simplicity and technical prowess, but I don't think the series has looked any better than it has here. There are some phenomenally shot sequences here, from a blood moon rampage through a church to a strobe light tussle in the rain. The film doesn't go over the top very often, but knows when to crank the style up a tad to add a little oomph, usually hinting that the things you may see are not what they appear. But there's an undeniable attention to coloring here that actually gets playful with things like setting and time, not straining itself to look realistic if it doesn't need to thematically. You know, like movies used to be. And thankfully, Johnson has not missed a step in the wit department either. This may not be as laugh out loud funny as I found the first film, but most, if not all the bits, one-liners, and visual gags really land here. Don't mean to bring up masturbating talk twice in one video, but what can I say, it was pretty funny. And without spoiling anything, let's talk about that mystery. It's audacious and complex and layered, almost kind of to a fault. It's no doubt mind-bending to see the shocking reveals and twists unravel, but it never really culminates into anything that's too jaw-dropping. At times, it really seems to overcomplicate itself in order to make the impossible possible. And while I appreciate the effort, the resolution didn't really strike me as narratively satisfying as Knives Out or even Glass Onion. But like I was talking about earlier, ironically, the mystery isn't what ultimately ropes me in, but the story that's playing out alongside it. It's incredibly thoughtful and tender with how it tackles faith and belief while still finding room to be critical of the cult of personality that can be spawned from it. Not only does it find ways to tie into modern day issues like class despair and billionaires in the previous films, but it does so in a way that feels a lot more personal, tapping into what it means to handle guilt and the duty to do right by your fellow man. In a way, this film elevates itself beyond just an homage to Agatha Christie-style mysteries into something truly unique, which is exactly what I want from a film series. To grow, to adapt, to come out on the other side feeling as if there's something here to take home with you. And in my eyes, Rian Johnson is 3 for 3 with his Benoit Blanc mystery series, with Wake Up Dead Man perhaps being his most puzzling and thought-provoking. Daniel Craig is once again stellar, but it's Josh O'Connor's humble and soft role that really reeled me in. The mystery is a big swing that may not pay off as satisfyingly as past capers, but you can't deny that it's fun to see the puzzle pieces fall into place. Sometimes I curse the internet for not letting this guy give us more Star Wars movies, but then again, we may have never gotten these gems. So I guess I can give Stupid Culture Wars a pass this time. For my rating, I'm giving this film 4 Hail Marys out of 5. Guys, thank you so much for tuning into this episode of the Martini Shot. If you saw a Wake Up Dead Man, let me know what you thought about it down in the comments. And if you like what you saw here and would like to see more, don't forget to like, subscribe, and follow me across all social media channels. Those links are down in the description below. If you enjoy movie reviews and movie-themed cocktails, be sure to check out my website, martinishot.blog. Until next time, thank you again for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Live deliciously, but please remember to drink responsibly.